learned last week that Walgreens is shutting down 5 locations, all of them on the south and west sides of the city, leaving many Chicagoans without a pharmacy for miles. One of those neighborhoods, South Shore, has a Walgreens at 7109 South Jeffrey that is set to close, leaving those who live there with one less option to get items they need in an already marginalized area. Here to talk about the impact on the community and the push for a solution are 5th Ward Alderman Desmon Yancy and Executive Director of South Shore Chamber of Commerce, Tonya Trice. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Alderman, I want to ask you the first question. Now, all of these Walgreens are in predominantly black and brown neighborhoods with few pharmacy and even food options in some cases. That must have raised some red flags for you. And did Walgreens even give you a heads up that it was coming?
Yeah, it did raise some red flags. I spoke with Walgreens, I think it was last fall, just before they announced their closings for 2024, which ironically included another Walgreens that is just a mile south of the Walgreens that's closing today, but still in the South Shore neighborhood. And so we've been sort of preparing for this moment, myself, Tonya, other members of the chamber, but we're still kind of blindsided with the timing of this. And it's a community that has gone through a very difficult and similar challenge where a few years ago, Dominick's left our community and we spent 6 years without a grocery store. That Dominick's store is, a few hundred yards away from where this Walgreens is. So we've suffered quite a bit in this community and are really trying to figure out a way to make sure that we're able to bounce back from this.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, and that is what caught my attention immediately, is that all 5 of these new closures are in these predominantly black and brown neighborhoods, right? Tonya, you want Walgreens to help you guys find a suitable replacement tenant for that space. Has Walgreens indicated it'll even help do that? Because I would imagine it's not required to.
You're absolutely right. We have no say in Walgreens closing, but we do want them to work with us to identify a tenant that solves some of the local economic issues that we have in our community and to solve the main issue at hand right now, making sure that the residents in the community have some place where they can go to get their pharmacy and their prescriptions filled, and also do some day-to-day shopping for household items. And so that is our main challenge right now, making sure that we can find a replacement tenant that is aligned with the economic needs of our community and solve the problem for the residents in the community.
But has Walgreens said, yeah, we're going to help you do that, or have they, remained silent?
We have not spoken to Walgreens yet. I have not personally. We do want to have direct engagement with Walgreens because we want them to understand that this is a community of their loyal customers, and to have 2 stores close within a mile of one another will have a significant impact on the South Shore community. And they need to understand the condition that 2 closed Walgreens within a mile of each other will have on the property values in the community, not to mention the numbers of jobs that have been lost. I don't know how that's being addressed, but we have many residents that live in this community and work for that store. What happens to them now?
Right. I mean, and it's already, with all due respect, in many ways a marginalized community, as are these 4 other communities as well. So, Alderman, have you spoken directly with Walgreens at all since this latest announcement? And did you point out to them or ask the company, hey, why no North Side Walgreens, for instance? Did Walgreens tell you why these stores in particular were targeted for a shutdown?
But we haven't had much of a conversation since the announcement. And I'm looking forward to that discussion because, to your point, these are all stores that are not only in, historically marginalized communities, but when we're looking at the proposed list of stores that are coming, many of these stores are stores that are historic anchors to Walgreens. The 71st Street location is probably close to 100 years old, or at least the footprint. Similarly with one of their first locations at 35th and King Drive, which is also slated to be closed. Now, to be I'll say at least fair, Walgreens indicated that they are changing their business model, shifting away from more of the retail work that has been really support in our community and shifting to a pharmacy-based model. It still doesn't, their business model having an impact on our community is really what is at question here. And so while we can't stop them from coming, We met this weekend with a number of community stakeholders from faith and commerce and even the owners of that property to make sure that what we're able to do is find an opportunity in this, a silver lining that allows the community to come together and really steer the sort of business that we need to take over that space. The Walgreens lease goes through 2031, so we've got 6 years. We can't have another 6 years of vacant property on that space, and so we want to really dig in and figure out how we can bring a business that's going to be supported by the community. And hopefully it is something that is still healthcare centered, because we want to make sure that that need is still met.
Right. Well, and also food needs and personal item needs and whatnot, that it's convenient for folks in your neighborhood and the other 4 areas as well. I really want to thank you. We're going to keep an eye on this, and I hope we can stay in touch. But in the meantime, Alderman Desmon, Yancy, and Tonya Trice, thanks so much for taking your time this morning to discuss this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great morning.